Blake Lively, her brand, Ryan Reynolds' brand, have totally been tarnished by this because the world now sees them for who they are. They cannot act their way out of this.
And Deadpool, where he said, let's do one more take. And everyone was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me, but to me.
Cathartic.
As if I'm Weasel. So he was like, you know what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you just, you do just enough exposition that it's funny, and then we can leave and get back to the real movie.
Ryan Reynolds, the self-proclaimed nice guy of Hollywood, has built his career on a carefully crafted image of charm, wit, and relatability. From his breakout role as Deadpool to his quirky social media presence, Reynolds has long been celebrated as the lovable, sarcastic everyman. But what happens when the mask slips? Recent revelations and insider accounts suggest that the real Ryan Reynolds is far from the persona he projects. From toxic behavior on set to power-hungry antics behind the scenes, the truth about Reynolds is finally coming to light, and it's not pretty. It all started with a seemingly minor incident that exposed Reynolds' darker side. During the filming of Deadpool 2, Reynolds' personal makeup artist was unavailable for reshoots because they were out of the country working on another project. Instead of handling the situation professionally, Reynolds reportedly flew into a rage. According to an insider source, he threatened the artist, saying, "If you don't come back, you will never work in Hollywood again." This wasn't just an empty threat. Reynolds allegedly went to Fox executives demanding they comply with his ultimatum. The studio, already under pressure from Reynolds' growing control over the Deadpool franchise, had no choice but to back him up. The incident left many questioning. Who gave Ryan Reynolds the power to blacklist someone over a scheduling conflict? But this wasn't an isolated incident. It was just the tip of the iceberg in a pattern of controlling, egotistical behavior that has been quietly brewing for years. Reynolds' need for control didn't stop at makeup artists. The original Deadpool was directed by Tim Miller, who helped bring the character to life and turned the film into a massive success. But when it came time for Deadpool 2, Miller was out. Why?
I was so vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got screamed at. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had my back.
Because Reynolds wanted complete creative control. Miller later admitted that Reynolds' demands became unbearable. "I wasn't willing to fight every single decision," he said, hinting at Reynolds' refusal to compromise. This wasn't just about creative differences. It was about power. Reynolds' obsession with controlling every aspect of the franchise led to the ousting of a director who had been instrumental in its success. And it didn't stop there. Reynolds' controlling behavior extended to his co-stars, particularly those who dared to challenge him. One of the most glaring examples of Reynolds' toxic behavior involves his treatment of co-stars. Take Morena Baccarin, who played Vanessa, Wade Wilson's love interest in the first Deadpool. In Deadpool 2, her role was drastically reduced to little more than an afterthought. Why? Because she reportedly had a disagreement with Reynolds on set. Rather than handling the situation professionally, Reynolds allegedly made sure Baccarin was sidelined.
Reynolds had to do some reshoots for the movie. His makeup artist was out of the country working. Ryan Reynolds threatened to fire the makeup artist off the rest of the film and the reshoots they had to do, and also said, if you don't come back and do my makeup for these reshoots, you will never work in Hollywood again.
She was excluded from press events, promotional tours, and even group photos at premieres. It was as if she had been erased from the film entirely. Then there's T.J. Miller, who played Weasel in the Deadpool movies. Miller, a comedian known for his sharp wit, revealed that Reynolds was genuinely mean to him on set. "He was horrifically mean to me, but to me cathartic, as if I'm Weasel," Miller said. Reynolds allegedly belittled Miller in front of the crew, reminding him that he was just a side character and not the star. Reynolds' behavior isn't limited to the Deadpool franchise. Rebecca Ferguson, who starred alongside Reynolds in the 2017 sci-fi film Life, had a particularly harrowing experience. While she never named names, the details of her story point directly at Reynolds. Ferguson described working with an absolute idiot of a co-star who was insecure and angry on set. She was so uncomfortable that she refused to act directly with this person, demanding to act toward a tennis ball instead. "You can off. I'm going to work towards a tennis ball. I never want to see you again," she recalled saying. The incident left Ferguson shaken, and when she spoke out about it, she was warned by colleagues that she had gone too far. This is how Hollywood operates. protecting the powerful at the expense of those who dare to speak up. Perhaps the most damning evidence of Reynolds' toxic behavior comes from his former best friend, Jake Gyllenhaal. The two were once Hollywood's favorite bromance, cracking jokes on talk shows and promoting their films together. But after working together on Life, their friendship fell apart. When asked about Reynolds in a recent interview, Gyllenhaal's response was icy.
Did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and comfortable.
I have nothing to say about him, he said, his tone dripping with disdain. This level of coldness doesn't come from a minor disagreement. Something major must have happened between them. And it's clear that Gyllenhaal wants nothing to do with Reynolds anymore. Reynolds' ex-wives have also spoken out about his behavior. Scarlett Johansson, whom he was married to from 2008 to 2011, described him as passive-aggressively jealous, a polite way of saying insecure and controlling. Alanis Morissette, his former fiancée, echoed these sentiments.
Reynolds on the Enneagram is a psycho. That's what he is. He's just a psycho. His number is psycho.
Calling him unbelievably insecure in her album Flavors of Entanglement, which was inspired by their breakup. These patterns of behavior, jealousy, insecurity, and a need for control, paint a picture of a man who is far from the lovable goofball he pretends to be.
Reynolds, by all accounts, seems like a great guy. He is acting. By all accounts, he is a total pain in the ass.
Ryan Reynolds' carefully crafted image is crumbling. From his treatment of co-stars and crew to his power-hungry antics behind the scenes, the truth about Reynolds is finally coming to light. Hollywood may have protected him for years, but the cracks are starting to show. As more people speak out, it's becoming clear that Ryan Reynolds isn't the nice guy he pretends to be.
He's one of those guys, so they are absolute bullies.
He's just another Hollywood narcissist who's finally been exposed. But this is only the beginning. We'll dive deeper into Reynolds' relationship with Blake Lively, his PR-driven marriage, and how Hollywood is finally turning its back on him. Stay tuned. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have long been Hollywood's golden couple, known for their quirky social media banter, red carpet chemistry, and seemingly perfect marriage. But behind the Instagram jokes and carefully curated PR campaigns lies a different story. As Reynolds' toxic behavior continues to be exposed, questions are being raised about the authenticity of their relationship. Is their marriage as perfect as they claim? Or is it just another calculated move to salvage Reynolds' tarnished image? Reynolds and Lively's relationship began under a cloud of controversy. The two met on the set of Green Lantern in 2010 while Reynolds was still married to Scarlett Johansson. By the time his divorce was finalized in 2011, Reynolds and Lively were already dating.
They weren't the first to do this. It was Blake Lively, it was Ryan Reynolds, this was their strategy, and now they kind of want to put the genie back in the bottle. But guess what? The genie does not want to go back in the bottle.
This swift transition raised eyebrows, with many speculating that Lively was Reynolds' backup plan all along. Their relationship quickly became a PR goldmine. From playful Instagram posts to coordinated red carpet appearances, Reynolds and Lively crafted an image of the perfect Hollywood couple. But as Reynolds' true colors began to show, it became clear that their relationship was as much about image control as it was about love. While Reynolds has been the primary target of recent scandals, Lively hasn't escaped unscathed. Her own career has been under scrutiny, with critics pointing out that she's never been able to break out of Reynolds' shadow. Despite her early success on Gossip Girl, Lively's film career has been lackluster, with most of her recent projects failing to make a significant impact. Now, with Reynolds' reputation in freefall, Lively's career is at risk too. The couple's carefully crafted image is unraveling, and Lively is being dragged into the mess. From her legal battles with Justin Baldoni to her reliance on their power couple branding, it's clear that Lively's career has been propped up by her relationship with Reynolds. One of the most bizarre chapters in Reynolds and Lively's saga involves actor and director Justin Baldoni. Reynolds' Deadpool character, Nicepool, is widely believed to be a parody of Baldoni, complete with the signature man bun. The resemblance is uncanny, and many have speculated that Reynolds used the character to mock Baldoni. But the feud goes deeper than that. Baldoni and Lively have been embroiled in a legal battle over a film project, adding another layer of tension to the situation. Reynolds' decision to parody Baldoni in Deadpool has only fueled the fire, leading to speculation that the feud is personal. As more people speak out about Reynolds' behavior, Hollywood is starting to turn its back on him. Directors like Quentin Tarantino and Chris Columbus have publicly criticized Reynolds, with Tarantino dismissing his Netflix films as cash grabs, and Columbus calling his stoned-alone pitch an insult to cinema. Even Reynolds' former friends are distancing themselves. Jake Gyllenhaal's icy response to questions about Reynolds is just one example of how quickly the tide has turned. Hollywood may have protected Reynolds for years, but now that the truth is out, the industry is finally holding him accountable. Reynolds' once lovable public persona is also starting to crumble. His sarcastic humor, which once seemed witty and charming, is now coming off as mean-spirited and exhausting. Fans are beginning to see through his act, and his social media posts are being met with increasing skepticism. The makeup artist scandal was a turning point. For the first time, the public saw Reynolds not as the funny, relatable guy he pretends to be, but as a controlling, egotistical bully. As more stories of his toxic behavior emerge, his fan base is starting to shrink. With Reynolds' reputation in tatters and Lively's career on shaky ground, the future of Hollywood's golden couple is uncertain. Their marriage, once a PR powerhouse, is now a liability. As the cracks in their facade continue to grow, it's only a matter of time before the whole thing comes crashing down. But perhaps the most damning evidence of all is the silence from those who know them best. From co-stars to directors to former friends, the people who have worked with Reynolds and Lively are no longer singing their praises. Instead, they're speaking out about the toxicity and control that have defined their careers. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's Hollywood empire is crumbling. What was once a carefully crafted image of perfection has been exposed as a facade built on control, manipulation, and PR. As the truth about Reynolds' behavior continues to come to light, it's clear that the golden couple's reign is over. But this isn't just the end of a Hollywood power couple. It's a wake-up call for an industry that has long protected its biggest stars at the expense of those they hurt. As more people speak out, it's becoming clear that the era of unchecked power and toxic behavior in Hollywood is coming to an end. And for Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, there's no going back. Ryan Reynolds' fall from grace isn't just about one scandal or one feud. It's about a pattern of behavior that has been quietly tolerated for years. From his treatment of co-stars and crew to his power-hungry antics behind the scenes, Reynolds' toxic behavior has left a trail of damaged relationships and shattered careers. But as the dominoes continue to fall, the ripple effects are being felt across Hollywood. This is the untold story of how Ryan Reynolds' actions have impacted the industry, and why his downfall is a turning point for Hollywood. The makeup artist at the center of the Deadpool 2 scandal has remained anonymous, but their story is a stark reminder of the power dynamics in Hollywood. Forced to choose between their career and their personal life, the artist was put in an impossible position. While Reynolds' threats ultimately didn't end their career, the incident left a lasting impact. This isn't just about one person. It's about the countless others who have been silenced or sidelined by powerful figures like Reynolds. The makeup artist's story is a microcosm of a larger issue in Hollywood, where abuse of power is often swept under the rug. Reynolds' need for control has driven away some of Hollywood's most talented directors. Tim Miller's departure from Deadpool 2 was just the beginning. Other directors have reportedly clashed with Reynolds over his demands, leading to tense sets and compromised creative visions. Chris Columbus, the legendary director behind Home Alone and Harry Potter, publicly criticized Reynolds for his stoned-alone pitch, calling it an insult to cinema. This kind of backlash from a respected filmmaker is rare, and it's a sign that Reynolds' behavior is no longer being tolerated. Rebecca Ferguson's experience on the set of Life is just one example of how Reynolds' behavior has affected his co-stars. But she's not the only one who has spoken out. T.J. Miller's revelations about Reynolds' mean-spirited behavior on the Deadpool shed light on the toxic environment that Reynolds created. Even Morena Baccarin, who was sidelined in Deadpool 2, has hinted at the difficulties she faced working with Reynolds. These stories are a reminder that Reynolds' actions have real consequences, not just for him, but for the people he works with. Scarlett Johansson and Alanis Morissette's comments about Reynolds' jealousy and insecurity are more than just personal grievances. They're a warning. Both women have described Reynolds as controlling and difficult to work with, traits that have carried over into his professional life. Johansson's description of Reynolds as passive-aggressively jealous is particularly telling. It's a reminder that Reynolds' behavior isn't limited to the set. It's a fundamental part of who he is. As more people speak out about Reynolds' behavior, Hollywood is starting to take notice. Directors, co-stars, and even former friends are distancing themselves from him, and his once stellar reputation is in freefall. Quentin Tarantino's dismissal of Reynolds' Netflix films as cash grabs is a sign that the industry is no longer willing to overlook his flaws. Even Arden Butler's admission that he doesn't watch Reynolds movies is a subtle but powerful rebuke. Reynolds' once lovable public persona is also starting to crumble. His sarcastic humor, which once seemed witty and charming, is now coming off as mean-spirited and exhausting. Fans are beginning to see through his act, and his social media posts are being met with increasing skepticism. The makeup artist scandal was a turning point. For the first time, the public saw Reynolds not as the funny, relatable guy he pretends to be, but as a controlling, egotistical bully. As more stories of his toxic behavior emerge, his fan base is starting to shrink. With Reynolds' reputation in tatters and Lively's career on shaky ground, the future of Hollywood's golden couple is uncertain. Their marriage, once a PR powerhouse, is now a liability. As the cracks in their facade continue to grow, it's only a matter of time before the whole thing comes crashing down. But perhaps the most damning evidence of all is the silence from those who know them best. From co-stars to directors to former friends, the people who have worked with Reynolds and Lively are no longer singing their praises. Instead, they're speaking out about the toxicity and control that have defined their careers. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's Hollywood empire is crumbling. What was once a carefully crafted image of perfection has been exposed as a facade built on control, manipulation, and PR. As the truth about Reynolds' behavior continues to come to light, it's clear that the golden couple's reign is over. But this isn't just the end of a Hollywood power couple, it's a wake-up call for an industry that has long protected its biggest stars at the expense of those they hurt. As more people speak out, it's becoming clear that the era of unchecked power and toxic behavior in Hollywood is coming to an end. And for Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, there's no going back.